Okay, I'll be going over the midterm exam. You are free to slow down this video if you need to, speed it up to follow along. Okay, solve the following, round to the nearest tenths if necessary, unless otherwise stated. So, in order for any radical equation, you need to solve for a variable just by getting the variable by itself. And in order to do that, when you have a radical, is, especially a square root, is to square both sides. But before I do that, I notice an issue already. I have the square root of some expression equals a negative number. So right off the bat, I already know the answer here is going to be not no real solution. And the reason why is because square roots cannot be negative. They will not, you will never take a square root of a number and get a negative number. So automatically it's not real. Super. All right. Solve this equation. Again, that's the directions. Answer with an integer or a fraction. Integer is just a whole number that's positive or negative. So from here, to get x by itself, I need to add 3 to both sides. And then I have 5 over 3 times x equals 23. Now, to get rid of this fraction, you just multiply it by the reciprocal, because that goes away, and we get x equals 23 times 3 is 69 over 5, and that's your final answer. Very ugly answer, but it's the answer. Now for this one. Whenever you have some number times something in parentheses, you're going to want to distribute that number. So 7 times x is 7x, 7 times 6 is 42, which equals 7x minus 41. To get x by itself, let's subtract 7x from both sides. That cancels, and what do you know? We get negative 42 equals negative 41, which, is that true? No. Since you got something like this means no solution. Not no real solution like we got for the first one. No solution. Because the difference is that for part A, there is going to be a solution. It's just not going to be a real number, but that's not something you learn in this class. So don't worry about that. But for part C, there's not a single number, nor neither real nor imaginary, that'll make this true. Nothing will make this true. Not even 0 will make this true. Okay, determine whether or not a triangle with side lengths 12, 35, and 37 is a right triangle. Provide an answer yes or no. Show work to prove your answer. So from here, you need to use Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared has to equal c squared. And in this case, we need to make sure that 12 squared plus 35 squared plus 37 does indeed equal 37 squared. So we have 12 squared. And the reason why 37 is that, so we need to recognize one thing. Biggest length is hypotenuse. So that's your C value. So we have 12 squared plus 35 squared has to equal 37 squared. So we got 144 plus, I don't know what 35 squared is. That is 1,000 1,225 equals, and now 37 squared, no, not 3 squared, 37 squared is 1,369. All right, and now we have to add, goodness, 144 plus 125 does indeed equal the same thing as this number. So yes, this can be a right triangle. Okay, for the next one, find the area of the shaded region in the figure below if the diameter of the circle is 9 and the height of your rectangle is 5. Okay, so from here, we just want to find the area of the shaded region. So we can see that that shaded region is equal to the entire rectangle minus half a circle. Okay, so the area of that rectangle, because again, the area of any rectangle is base times height, or length times width, and the area of a circle is pi r squared. So the area of the rectangle is 5 times 9, which is 45. So 45 minus sin semicircle. You're going to have to divide the area of the circle in half because that's a half circle. So the diameter is 9, but we want the radius. So it's going to be 4.5 squared. So it's pi times 4.5 squared. Put that in your calculator. 4.5 times 4.5. That's 20.5 times pi, which is going to be 20. Hold on. Something's not right here. 9. So the diameter is 9. Oh, I forgot to divide it by 2. Huh. And then divide it by 2. I was like, yeah. Okay, that's going to be 31.8. So that area is, subtract that from 45, is going to be round to the nearest hundredth. So 19. That is your answer. Okay. Now for the next one. Given the ordered pairs, answer the following questions. Say the domain. Domain is the set of x values. Set of x values. So your set of x values is just going to be these, which put them in order -3, 2, 3 is mentioned twice, which is fine. 2, 3, -3, 6, 7. Okay, and the range is the set of y values. So that's your y values here. List them in order if you can. Smallest one is 1. Then we got 5 and we got 9. It's listed 3 times, but only write it once. Does the provided information represent a function? Explain your reasoning. So the answer is no, because the input 3 has 2 outputs, which is a big no-no for functions. Okay, a forest is made up of maple trees and oak trees. The number of oak trees is 2 less than 4 times the number of maple trees. Let M represent the number of maple trees. Write the expression that gives the number of oak trees in the forest. Okay, so for oak trees, The number of oak trees is 2 less than 4 times a number of maple trees. So 2 less than 4 times m. That's your answer. It wants an expression, so this is it. Rowena's monthly gasoline bill dropped from 28 I'm sorry, $83.75 last month to 56.95 this month. Find the percent decrease. Hold on, let me get a sip of water. So to do this, all you have to do is just put how much you currently have over the past amount. And when you do that, you get 0.68. But the thing is, this is a decrease. So now you take 100% minus 68%, which is equal to a 32% decrease. And that's it. Simplify the following as much as possible. So anything to the power 0 is always 1. So this is just negative times 1, which is negative 1. For this one, you have to distribute this exponent to everything. So this is negative 5y squared over x to the power 6 times x to the power 8 times y to the power 2 all over 5 squared, which I'll just change that to 25 right off the bat. And when you multiply this out, you get negative 5 x to the power 8, y to the power 4. I guess I should explain from here we have x to the power a to the power b, which equals x to the power ab. And from here what we did, this was from the x to the power a times x to the power b, which is equal to x to the power a plus b. And this is 25 x to the power 6. Simplify everything. Now we're doing, if I have x to the power a over x to the power b, this is just equal to x to the power a minus b. That's because this transforms into negative x to the power 2, y to the power 6 over 5. And that's because x to the power 8 divided by x to the power 6 is going to be x to the power 2. Whoops. That's y to the power 4. I don't know what I was doing. Super. And then negative 5 over 25 is a fifth. All right, for this next one, you can't take a square root of a negative. This is not real. But this, however, negative on the outside, which is fine, and the square root of positive 25 is 5. It's supposed to be an equal sign. Super. Excellent. Find the value f of negative 2 where the function is defined below. So all you're doing is just plugging in negative 2 for where you see an x. which this is equal to negative 4 times 4 minus 2 plus 1. This is negative 16 minus 2 plus 1, which is negative 18 plus 1, which is negative 17. That's your final answer. Use the distributive property to rewrite as much as possible. So from here, FOIL x times x is x squared. X times 8 is 8x. Negative 8 times x is negative 8x. Negative 8 times 8 is negative 64. Combine like terms. These cancel to 0. And then we get x squared minus 64. It's your final answer. Difference of squares. Which, by the way, a squared minus b squared, that factors to a plus b times a minus b, which is what we did here. Okay, so now for this one. Again, multiply every term in here to everything in the second parentheses. So we'll do 5u times u squared, which is 5u cubed. 5u times negative u is negative 5u squared. 5u times negative 10 is negative 50u. Negative 6 times, let me do a different marker. Negative 6 times u squared is minus 6u squared. Negative 6 times negative u is plus 6u. Negative 6 times negative 10 is plus 60. Now, combine like terms. 5u cubed, there's no like terms there. Negative 5yu and negative 6u squared, that's negative 11u squared. Negative 50u and plus 6u, that is negative 44u. And then plus 60. And that is your final answer. All right, for this next one, for the points, find the slope. So slope is, if I were to label this as x1 and y1, x2 and y2, the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So just plug all that in. We have negative 7 minus negative 9 over 2 minus negative 3. Now, double negatives turn into a positive. So this is negative 7 plus 9 over 2 plus 3, which is equal to 2 over 5. That's your slope. Find the distance. So the distance is x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared all under the square root. That's the distance formula. So we're going to do 2 minus a negative 3 squared plus negative 7 minus a negative 9 squared, squared, all under the square root. And this is equal to 5 squared plus 2 squared, which this is equal to 25 plus 4 squared, square root. Square root of 25 plus 4, which is equal to the square root of 29. And for the midpoint is going to be a coordinate. So x1 plus x2 over 2 divided by 2, comma y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So from here, we have, let's see, negative 3 plus 2 over 2, comma, negative 9 plus negative 7 divided by 2. which when you do the math, this is equal to -1/2, comma, -4, -16, that's -8. -8. And that is your final answer. That's huge. I don't know I made that so huge. Okay. Dominique buys a purse that was 35% off. If the original cost of the purse was $149, how much did Dominique spend after applying the discount and paying $10.25? Sorry, 10.25%. Well, from here, one thing to recognize is that 35% off means it implies that's 100% minus 35% equals 65% of price, of OG price. So from here, we're going to do 149 times 0.65, which is $96.85 for that was the dress on sale. And then you're going to take 96.85 and you're going to calculate the tax. And the tax is going to be, move that decimal place over twice and add 1 to it, 1.1025. Multiply that, you're going to get, after tax, $106.78. That's how much she paid with the discount plus the tax. Okay. Solve the following and graph the answer on the number line provided, and provide your answer in interval notation. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna get all the x's to one side. So I have 7 is greater than or equal to 6x minus 11. Add 11 to both sides. I have 18 is greater than or equal to 6x. Divide both sides by 6. I have 3 is greater than or equal to x, which, by the way, in interval notation is, so this is saying that 3 is the biggest that x could be. So from here, it's going to be x is everything that is between -infinity all the way up to 3 bracket. So if I wanted to illustrate this, let's do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. 3 is right there. It's going to be a closed dot because bracket. And the solutions of x are this. And this would be a conditional. Contradiction is basically you get like something like -3 is greater than 2, which is not true. All right, for this one, we need to get m by itself, so subtract 8 from all 3 sides. And you get -5 is less than 2m, which is less than or equal to 4. Then divide everything by 2, and here we get -5 over 2 is less than m is less than or equal to 2, which in interval notation is going to be parenthesis -5 over 2, comma 2 bracket. And from here, we'll do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -1, -2, -3, 4, -5, -6, doesn't matter. And at -5.5, which is essentially -2.5, that's going to be here, open circle, and at 2, a closed circle. And M represents all numbers in between these two. So that would be your final answer. This is also a conditional. Okay, last question. Given the following triangle, what type of triangle is this? Well, before we do that, let's find this measure. Now, the sum of all angles, so sum of all three angles in triangle is 180 degrees. So this is essentially saying the angle x plus 35 degrees plus 80 degrees has to equal 180 degrees. So 35 plus 80, I'm going to combine that, x plus, I think 115 degrees equals 180 degrees. Subtract 115 from both sides. And we get x equals, this is 65 degrees. Super. So the measure of what type of triangle is this? This is an acute triangle because all angles are less than 90 degrees. So the measure of all three angles is 35 degrees, 65 degrees, and 80 degrees. Find the complementary angle to A. All right, so the supplementary angle to C, find the complementary angle to A. So if the angle is 35, complementary means two angles that sum to 90 degrees. So this is saying that I'll do C plus 35 degrees has to equal 90. So subtract 35 from both sides. And you get C equals 55 degrees. 55 degrees. And now find the angle supplementary to angle C. So angle C is 65 degrees. So supplementary means two angles that sum to 180 degrees. So essentially this is saying that S plus 65 degrees equals 180 degrees. Subtract 65 from both sides, and we get S is equal to 115 degrees. And that's your final answer. And that's it for this exam.